Hi, this is Craig from Foxy Web Design, and today we're going to have a look at setting up our WordPress website using this is part of the Foxy Web Designers Club, where we set up a WordPress website for you ready to go, and we show you how to design a website very quickly and very simply. Okay, in other videos we'll show you how to log into WordPress, how to create users and everything like that. With the Foxy Web Design Club, we install the plugins for you, whatever you need to build whatever type of website you need. We're going to do a roofing website today, so we're going to be using Astra Pro to build that, along with their premium starter templates, which can be found here on the navigation menu under Appearance, Starter Templates, once that plugin is selected. Now you have your choice of which page builder to use. We use Elementor mainly for our starter sites, but if you want to use one of the other ones, talk to us. You don't even have to use Astra theme either. We've got plenty of other themes that we use and recommend, but Astra is a fantastic one used by over 1 million people. And you can see it's got a one-click template library here. Now we're going to be building, I'll just show you again the before and after. So this is what the website looks like so far. Okay, it's just a blank slate. It's a WordPress website with the WordPress generic starter theme. But now with Astra Pro, we're going to do a one-click install. Now let's see. Now, there's a roofing service already, and this actually might be quite helpful just to install this one. Let me just have a look at the logo that we've got for the client. Just bear with me, because the logo will make a big difference of what sort of style we're after. So here in the media library of WordPress, what we'll do is we'll add a new media, and so we've already got the logo there. If you need help with logos, let me know. I can assist with that as well. The client here already had their logo. I did actually clean it up a little bit. But this is what the logo looks like. Let's just have a look at that. This is what, and it's probably going to be best if we just keep that. I think it's a cool logo. I like it. I don't personally have any problems with it. And I'm not sure that this is going to look very good if I reverse it and make all these sections white. So here on the starter template, so keep that in mind when you're looking at the starter templates. I think that logo might suit this type of design a little bit more, or this one. Obviously it's a roofing company, but with a starter template, you know, I don't have to choose a roofing company starter template. That wouldn't be so sensible to restrict yourself that way. I do like how they've got this design here with request a free estimate. So we might just take a little leaf from the book there and use something like that. I'll show you that later, but we're just going to do a one-click starter template. Now, I'm just going to pause this video for a moment while I have a good old think about which one we're going to choose. All right, look, I have decided I'm going to use this one. I'll just show you the range. And by the way, if you can't find a template in here, we have got other template libraries in the Designers Club, so do reach out. But having said that, to be quite honest, you should be able to choose something from in here, because then after that you can change it anyway. I'm going to choose this one basically because it's a wide design, which is what I want for this website. And when I say wide, that means the design elements spread from end to end. So like this one does, this one kind of does, but it's boxed down there. You can see most of these are wide designs. It's also just going to help me because it's a pre-built one. So I just click on that, and what we'll do is we'll import the complete site. We do have the option to just import the home template, the home being this home page. But of course, the complete site has all the pages. Okay, so we're going to click on that, and the site is now being imported. It's asking us, do we want to delete the previously imported site? We don't need to click on that because there was no previously imported site. But if you did go in and change your mind, you can take advantage of that button there. You can simply swap a previous template very easily. Now it's going to import the customizer settings. That basically means the colors and the fonts and everything will remain the same. It's going to import the widgets. Widgets are other elements that may be in use throughout the site. We'll have a look at that later. And of course the content, and the content is the photos mainly. And we will swap those things out. But importing the photos to begin with will be a helpful way to start. Now I can see it's putting in a plugin here called Elementor Header and Footer ones. It's put in WP Forms Lite. Now a lot of these plugins I don't actually want to use, but I will leave them there for the meantime. The reason why I won't be using those plugins that it suggested, like WP Forms Lite, is because in the Designers Club you have access to a library of premium software, and rather than using a light form, we have formidable forms. It's here in the list. Just let me look for that. Formidable. There it is. Formidable forms, which is usually $299 US per year. Or if you want something a little bit lighter but still professional, there's Happy Forms there as well. And we do actually have a number of other form plugins. For instance, we just got a new Elements kit the other day, which has there's a form section in that one. In fact, there's a form section in a lot of them. Notice how we also have Brizy Pro, but we don't recommend using Brizy Pro at the moment. We prefer Elementor. If Brizy Pro matures to a point where we're satisfied with it, we do have it there in our library. Anyway, enough of that, because what we're here for really is just to do the one-click starter template. And here it is. So here's the website already. Now, I notice here that the form hasn't come up. That's fine. As I said, we will be replacing this with a formidable form. Let's have a look. 1, 2, 3, 4. This kind of makes sense to me. I like that. I like the hover effect. I don't like the darkness. What they've done, I can tell you this right now, is they've put an overlay of a color that has made these photos darker. So we'll look at going in there and choosing that soon. I quite like this background, but obviously we're going to have to change all of this to green to suit the logo. This is quite nice design. Maybe we'll go with that. I like the footer. But as I mentioned before, I don't like that header. I want to change that. So let's get into it. So look, if it was your website and you'd installed the theme, the next thing obviously to do is go in here and start editing the content. So let's just go in there and edit this with Elementor. That will take us straight into the back end again of this particular page, and we're just waiting for Elementor to load here. And now it's just as simple as going in here and copying and pasting your copy and putting it in here. When copying and pasting in Elementor, I do recommend going in here and putting the text in there. Alright, so the client hasn't supplied any copy yet. Just a word on copy. Like, if I will put some proper copy in soon, but just be aware when you're changing the text, I prefer using this window over here on the left. It makes things simpler, and this can be prone to errors typing in over here or losing your text. It's just easier over here, and I'll show you something else too. So you've got your headings from 1 to 6, and you've also got the text in here. Now notice it's changed that to black straight away, which we don't want. So what we need to do is we need to toggle this toolbar so we can get into the colors and just make it go white again. Now we can't see it here. You can actually see it here under the text window, and you can see this is the code in web design. When you change colors or styles or things like that, you see these tags come up, but this is in fact the text here, and you could change that. See how that changed? You can actually change it in here too, okay? Just be aware of that, and you can see it's changing over here in the window. But as I say, I do prefer to work over in this window. Now, this text widget and the fact that it goes white is just a little bit annoying, but you can see it if you highlight everything. I've just gone select all there, and now I can see those words, and you could edit words that way if you preferred. But yeah, it might be easier to do it in here, or look, you can actually do it from in here. I'm in this situation where it's gone white, then yeah, probably better. All right, so before we get into the copywriting side of things, I just wanted to quickly show you that you can edit the text quite easily. But the thing is, I actually want to change that logo. So I'm going to leave the page. I'm not going to change anything. I'm not going to save the changes I made. We'll just leave it like that. In fact, what I would like to do is, because this website is actually live, I'm not expecting anyone to visit it yet because no one knows it's here. But just in case, it's probably best to do. The logo and the what's called the header. The header is the thing up at the top. Now I just want to actually check these settings to understand why. Oh, I see. All right, I've foolishly put in HTTP rather than HTTPS, which, if you'd noticed, there wasn't a secure lock on that. So I better just go in there and make sure that's HTTPS. You shouldn't worry about that yourself so much, because I will actually be installing WordPress for you. And once you change that, it logs you out and I'll need to log back in again. By the way, the standard login window for any WordPress website is the name of the website with a /WP-admin. Now, anyone in WordPress knows that is the way that you log into WordPress generally. Having said that, we sometimes hide the back door, so it's not so easy for hackers. But having said that, the hackers are limited to how many times they can try and guess a username or password. And the hackers are also limited when we start to install more security software, for instance, with two-factor authentication. So you'd put in your name and password, and then you'd be emailed a special code to get in. But we haven't installed that security software in here yet. Now, I use a password wallet to store all my information there, and that just allows me to easily, without typing again, I just press a button and these fields will be filled in. Now, because I'm very security conscious, I won't actually show you the username or password. I don't want the wrong people knowing about this. So I'm just going to pause the video, but you can see that's how we log in. Look, because I showed you about the HTTPS, I'm also going to show you, I've just quickly installed Velvet Blues Update URLs, which you can find under the tools for update URLs. And what we're going to do is just make sure, whoops, had the wrong thing in the clipboard there. We're just going to make sure that there's nothing in the website that is HTTP rather than HTTPS. This is a bit more technical, but I might as well show you since we're there, and I did talk about that lock, but it is up for a separate video. Notice how it did actually update 7 custom fields, 36 attachments, and 3 content items, so that was really worthwhile doing. It's a very useful plugin, Velvet Blues, and it's a free one as well. The thing about that plugin, though, once you've used it and you've updated your URLs, you don't really need it anymore. So you can just deactivate it and delete it. And then if you need it again, just add it again from up here. You search for the plugin, search for Velvet Blues, and then install it again. The reason we do that is because every plugin that's installed slows down the website minutely. Of course, you can't have a WordPress website without a selection of good plugins, and they all vary by degree of how much they will slow the website down. But basically, any website has software in it, and when that software is in use, it's something that takes time, and it all adds to the speed count. So just to be aware of that. All right, so now what we're going to do is try and work out what this installer template did in terms of putting this header in here. I'm going to have a guess, because we saw that plugin header and footer blocks. I'm going to have a guess it's got something to do with that. In fact, what I'm going to do first of all, and you'll notice now when we visit the front end, we've now, because this is proper and secure with the lock, we've actually got the admin bar at the top, which makes life a lot easier. But what we're going to do now is just create a under construction thing, and there might be, we'll just make that go away. We'll call this under construction, and just publish that. So it's a new page called under construction. Now what we're going to do is edit with Elementor. Actually, I should have done something else before I went into Elementor, but that's fine. That's fine. What we're going to do now is we're going to add a template. And we're going to, we've got the pages here. What we'll do is we'll search for construction. No, there's nothing there like that. But you know what? That looks like construction. So what we'll do is we'll insert that. Oh, sorry, it's telling us to go pro. That's because that's a silly me. It's we should be looking under blocks. In fact, sorry, I'm going to step back a step. That was actually the Elementor Pro, Elementor Pro, which we do not have access to except for the free elements from there. So my bad. What we're going to do is we're just going to exit to the dashboard. We may as well move this to the trash while we're here, because I'm going to approach this in a different way now. Okay, so we've moved that to the trash, which brings us back to here. And what we're going to do is we're going to go back to the starter templates and see if they've got one for under construction. Okay. They don't. What I'm looking for, because under construction usually looks cool when you've got... Okay, what we'll do is we'll just choose something else. We'll just put this in again. We'll just put this in again. Import home template. And I'll show you what. Okay, so hurrah! The template imported successfully. Go ahead, customize the tab. So here's another page, but it's not the home page. Sorry if I'm confusing you. But I'll show you what we're going to do. First of all, we're going to go in and edit this page. And we're going to disable the primary header, breadcrumbs, and we're going to disable the footer. Okay? And press publish. Actually, and instead of calling it home, we'll call it under construction. And then press publish. Now, we'll go to Elementor. And we should, when we're inside Elementor, probably see that there's no header, although it might appear on the back end. No, it's gone, so that's great. What we're just going to do is we're just going to delete these sections. I'm going to talk more about Elementor rows or sections soon. just be aware it's a thing, and that those sections, I am deleting them one by one now, just like that. All right, if we want to create a new row or section, you can just press this button. It comes pre-stacked with a whole bunch of different columns. So say we wanted a 2 column one, that's the section there, and these are our 2 columns. But I'm going to talk more about sections later. For now, I'm going to get rid of that. Now that footer is still there, but anyway, we'll deal with that in a moment. What we just want to do is the best local roofing business, leading roofing service in. I know where the client's located, right near me on the Central Coast. I am typing in here, but that was simple, right? Website under construction. What we'll do is we'll delete this, let's call them, we'll call it a field or elements. Let's delete that little element. And we'll delete this one as well. And delete this one. In fact, delete all of that. Delete, delete, delete. And delete this little social media widget. And now we'll just duplicate this one. I'm doing a right click here. I'm going to duplicate this. And we'll call it website under construction. Okay. Now we'll have a look at that. I'm going to guess it still has the footer there. We'll touch upon that in a second. Yeah, there's that footer still. What we're going to do now is we're going to go back to the dashboard on WordPress, and under settings, under reading, we're going to select the home page as under construction and press save changes. What that means now is that anyone that visits the site, they're going to see this. Now I have to work out how that footer is there so I can understand how to get rid of it. So let's go in and have a look at that. There's the footer there. So let's just have a look at this. We'll click on that, and this will show us. This will show us the footer is in Elementor. What I'm going to do now is click on this hamburger menu and exit to the dashboard. So we're actually looking at this. Okay, so this is called an Elementor header and footer block option. It's set to display on the entire website. We're going to add an exclusion rule here and tell it not to display on a particular page, a specific page. And that specific page is, you guessed it, under construction. So now we'll just update that. And now when we go to visit the site, there's no header and footer, just the under construction page. And so how do we get to the other pages now, I hear you ask? Well, the easiest way to begin with is just to go down to pages and click on all pages, and we'll find that home page, which is here. And just click on view so that we can view that page. Now this takes us to the website /home. But no one else except for you and I know that that's there. Over weeks, Google will send its robots to crawl across the web, and they will discover this site, and then they will probably start to index these pages. And so if someone was looking for the name of this website, which is BTA Roofing, Google will show it at this. We do have a way to hide all of these pages from Google, but I'm not going to do that. Basically, I would hide it from Google using a free plugin called Yoast SEO. But I'm not going to do that because by the time Google discovers this website, I will have finished building it. All right, so now we're free to keep on working on this website, and I've shown you how to update text quickly. I'm going to just show you some more things to do with text, because obviously text is one of the basic things that you need to learn after your template's up and running, and just to understand a little bit how text works. So we're just going in here. Now, notice this is a title widget, and this is a text editor widget. If we click on this button on the top of Elementor, we can see all the different widgets that we've got to use with Elementor. We see the Elementor Pro section here. Notice that's got a lock on it. That's because we do not use Elementor Pro. We only use the free version of Elementor, and then we add our own third-party Pro elements. I'll show you some of them. There's the header and footer blocks that was installed when we installed this theme. It installed this section as well. It comes with things like site logo and menu and retina image. We'll probably use retina image rather than logo. I'll explain more in a moment. Here's some more third-party add-ons that we've added that do all sorts of things like countdown timers and things like that. Google Maps, business hours. There's another retina image one. It's probably the same one. Let's just have a look. This is called header and footer blocks. You know, I'm tempted to actually remove header and footer blocks because Astra is such a powerful theme. It actually comes with many ways to skin a cat, especially when it comes to your header and footer. So we're going to touch upon that soon. But let's just go back to the text widgets so that I can explain that further. With Elementor, you can just drag and drop these. Tempted to call them widgets, but probably better to call them fields. And put your heading in here. And so here you've got your choice from H1 to H6. We'll go here with H1, the biggest. You should always start a website with an H1, okay? The H1 is very important for SEO as well, because it announces to Google what the main thing that your website is about, what product or service or type of website it is. Google gets all these clues in many ways, including reading through the entire article. By the time that, as I explained, when Google finally gets its web crawlers across this, generally, every week or two, and indexes this site, it's going to get an idea that this is a roofing website, because we can see roofing here, we can see roofing here, we can see roofing here, etc., etc. So Google is pretty clever, and it would understand that this website is about probably roofing. And we'll get more into SEO later because SEO is very important to try and get good results when people do a search for, say, roofing in my area or roofing builder in my or whatever. It's very important to understand SEO so that we can help improve your Google rankings. Now, this one, so we've put in our heading one, and obviously we need to type in whatever, but that's not what I'm going to explain right now. I just want to explain the color. And here are the different colors. So far we've only got these global colors. And so now it's time for a little bit of a lesson in web design before we actually put in our colors. All right, so I'm going to open up that logo that we did. And you can always ask me if you want to sample a color, you're not sure what it is, you can send me the file and I will show you that green is in fact 00A551. This is what's known as a hex color. And this is a universal color. It's always going to be green no matter which website you go to. If you punch in that hex color, and I'll just explain further about hex color, I'll show you that it is in fact green. Let's just have a look for hex color and punch in that number and I'll show you. There it is. And when I click on that, I guarantee that is green. So you can see that's how you, with branding, with your brand for your business, that's very important. Okay, so what we're going to do now, so I've touched upon text, I've touched upon colors. We're going to get back into that, but what I'm going to do now is just double check the customizer on this website. So I'm going to click here and view the page so I can get into the customizer. One way to get into the customizer is from the top admin window. I'll show you another way later, but for now we'll just click on this. And now we can see the global colors. So let's have a look. Because green is in the logo and black, I'm going to suggest that our best link color should in fact be green. And this theme color, I'm going to suggest, I'm just going to be lazy to try colors that blend with green. Okay, like choosing color palettes, obviously you can spend a fair amount of time thinking about this. Let's just click on a few color palettes just to get inspired. Colors that will go with green, that sounds pretty good. Yellow, and that's very Aussie. This is an Australian website, so green and yellow is probably a good bet. They're matching up green there. Just that green and that looks a bit too Christmassy, doesn't it? That just looks a bit too Christmassy. 20 rooms that prove why green goes with literally everything. I quite like that sunny colour. That sunny colour is quite nice. Okay, let's have a look in here. So that's a good one. The green and the yellow. Green and shades of green. Green and that turquoise colour, perhaps. And just various shades of green. I wonder, which ones do you like? I quite like the shades of green quite a lot, but I also quite like this turquoise colour, which I think is great for roofing because that's a very kind of, in Australia, that's a very kind of Federation style colour. There's no way I'm putting purple in. Yeah, I'm thinking that one. I'm thinking something like that. All right, so so the theme color, it's saying it's giving us this choice for yellow, but I'm just going to modify this a bit with our color picker. I'm going to take it away from the green spectrum and more into that orange spectrum, and that's quite a nice sunny color. I think that's good. And we've got our link color. We'll need a link hover color. No, we don't want purple. We do not want purple for the text color. I'm just going to go with a dark grey for now. We can always come back and change this. For the link hover color, I think we will go with that turquoisey type thing. Let's have a look. Probably something like that. Now already that to me is looking like a fairly nice color palette. It might not be perfect, but it will get us on our way. All right. Now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to copy and paste this into a new tab because I actually want to keep that tab open. Now we know that this is going to take us to that front page where we don't have as much control. But we've remembered now that the home page is in fact called home, so I can just type that in to get to there. And now when we go into edit Elementor, I want to tell Elementor what our chosen color palette is as well, so that we don't have to keep looking up those color codes. Okay, so here in Elementor, I'm going to go to Site Settings, Global Colors, and we're going to start swapping out those. We're going to start grabbing those colors, okay? So the primary color, and we'll use this for text, will be this one. The secondary color will be this one. This just makes it easy to grab, to select colors when we're choosing the text. It's saying the text is this one, so we may as well just copy that one because we've nominated that one as a text. So we may as well just put that one in there. We'll grab that turquoise color and we'll put that in there for, in fact, I think what we'll do, is we'll just put it in there. Now, so I don't have to keep clicking backwards and forwards, I'll just paste that in there and then cut it from there and put the primary one in as yellow, okay? And then we'll just make sure that that green is the correct green. And put that in there. We'll add some colors that we use all the time. White, which otherwise known as FFFFF, and black, otherwise known as 00000. They're helpful colors to have in our palette as well. And now we'll just update that, and now we've got access to our color palette. Okay. So now when I click into so I've just got to click go away here first. So now when I click into here and I click on style, you can see these three sections up here for this heading. Now when I click into the global color section, I can simply put in white. Okay, and press update. All right, now I'm just going to click back onto that tab again. We're remembering that we're back here in the base color section on the customizer. Let's just click back a bit and let's have a look at buttons, because buttons and colors are related, because we want our link color to be that, and that means that I want my buttons to also be that. So here under color, we will have the background color of green, and under hover, we'll just step back a bit. I better just publish. It usually remembers these things, but let's be safe. Now the hover color, the turquoise color, is of course this one. So back to buttons and color, and hover background color is the turquoise. And now it looks like that. Now it's also put in a border there, which I do not like. I don't want to have a border around my button. So let's just try and find where that is. Here it is under border. So we'll make sure that's all 0, and we'll get rid of any color that's associated with that. Oh, we can't get rid of that. Let's have a look. We'll just make it transparent just in case it wants to beat us. We'll beat it back that way. And now the border radius, see how that button has a rounded corner? Now that's up to you if you want it round or not. I can show you more advanced ways to play with that border later. There's actually lots of things you can do with the border. You can make it, see, the more you expand it, the rounder it gets. If you put it up to 2, that's as round as it's going to get. Okay, so perfectly round on those sides. Now for this this website, it's got it's got more of an angular appeal to that logo, and same with this roof. This looks really angular to me, not so much rounded. So I'm going to lose that border radius entirely for this particular design. Okay, and so let's just go back. Now there's a lot of stuff we can talk about here in this customizer, but we're just going to pick off things one at a time. So I'm going to press update. In fact, let's just have a quick look at the typography. The base typography is 16 points. I'm happy with that. The family is Roboto. For now, I'm happy with that. Roboto is quite a nice free typeface that's provided by Google Fonts. and no reason to change that just yet. Having said that, sometimes I will upload custom fonts. I've got a huge library of paid for custom fonts, and it might make things look a little bit different, but with this type of business, I don't actually want to look too different. I want it to be familiar to people, which will help inspire a sense of trust. Unlike my own personal website, which is, because I'm a web designer, I've made it look quite different. In fact, I wouldn't mind having a couple of different websites so I can A/B test it to see which ones convert better. But again, that's a whole nother lesson. Under here, we can see the headings, and we can see the size of the headings from 1 to 6, including the line height, which is the space between these lines. Okay. Actually, back to the base typography, we've also got the space here for the line height, which isn't entered. Let's put in 1.3, and that's updating. That's a bit tight for my liking. I'm going to change that to 1.5. Even that's a little bit tight potentially. Let's try 1.7. I think we'll just go back a notch, 1.6. And the margin at the bottom, that will be the space between paragraphs, and we might come back to that later if we feel that that's not enough. And again, just press publish. Okay, so this is the customizer. Now remember, I'm swapping between tabs because I like to have a few tabs open. It speeds up my design process. And now we're back in Elementor. Now we've discussed very briefly type and stuff. It's time to discuss these photos. So the client has supplied a bunch of great photos. I'm pretty keen on just having a quick look through these ones to find one that might be our hero shot. Or let's just have a look. You know what? I prefer this hero shot here. I do prefer this hero shot, but I think I can probably find something even better. So I'm just going to go to one of my paid for libraries and see what type of roof photos they have, and if I can find a roof photo that is more appealing. I'm just going to put this video on pause while I browse the selection so that I do not bore you. Alright, so I found a photo I like. I don't know whether the client will like it or not. They might come back and tell me, oh, we don't do this type of shingle. But, you know, whatever. It's a good start. So I'm just going to download this photo. And I'll save it into my own content library. Now I've got a license for it. I'll just show you that. So here in my design library under photos, I guess we're going to call it, that would either be home, or it would be architecture, but I'm going to go with home, or home. What's home? House. They're both the same thing. I should really combine these folders, and we'll call this one roofing and put that photo in here. Now it's not simply good enough to put that straight into the website. I'll explain why. You can see here, I can see here already that is a 4.7 megabyte file. Now 4.7 megabytes, we'll see it again when I open it up here on my desktop. It's actually saying 5 megabytes now. That is well too big for a website. I'll be talking about speed a lot as we build these websites together. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to crop this photo, and I'm going to crop it about there. And notice I've got my ratio of 16:9 here. Now the thing is, I'm using Photoshop. Now Photoshop costs money. It costs money to buy. A lot of money, unfortunately. But it's such a powerful tool. I can see here that the color of the sky changes from here to here. So I've loaded both those colors in here, and what I'm going to do is just use a gradient to match that color. Whoops, sorry, got the wrong one. It should come up. Oh, Photoshop's gone and changed itself. It's not using my color that I nominated. That would usually come up straight away. There it is there under basics. All right. So this is one way to do it. And that pretty much matches, I think you can see. But I can see a line there, so I'm not actually happy with that. I'm going to do this a different way. Here's another trick that I use in Photoshop. And that is just to select this part of the sky and then just expand that up to there. That's going to give me that's a better quality. I think you'll agree what I just did there. All right, then we've got the image size to talk about. In Photoshop, there's a couple of ways to choose the image size. This is probably the easiest way to go there and type in 1920. Now, it hasn't worked out my 16 by 9 properly because I know that should be, in fact, 1080. So I'm just going to go here, 1920. I'm going to turn off that lock, 1920 and 1080. It's only 1 pixel, so even though I'm distorting it, it's nothing. It's 1 pixel out of 1080, so it's not a big deal. Now, the reason I chose 1920 is because 1920 is HD. This is actually like an HD screen is 1920 by 1080. And we don't really want to get much bigger than that because otherwise it's going to be, the file size is going to be too big. Now, here in Photoshop, we can see that is now 387K. Now, that's still too big for me. So I'm going to reduce this quality down to low. And even when it's on low, that's still 127K, which is still very big. But having said that, this is our hero photo. And so that's about the best that I think we can hope for right now. I'm going to go into more about file size later and how we can optimize photos later, but that's a pretty good start. Now, I'll just put this into the client's folder called images, and we'll call this one stock because I want to separate the stock from their genuine real photos, which are really important as well. We're going to get into calling photos like roof and tiles on home in the Central Coast, New South Wales. The reason why I'm calling it something like this is because I've got Google in mind, and I want to increase the SEO every step of the way. So I'm going to show you every SEO trick and how we can do it on the fly. When we save that as the title, that will help us, but there's more to image SEO than that, but that's a starting point. Now, so I've just shown you how I do it in Photoshop, right? But you might not have Photoshop, so you might need to look for a free Photoshop alternative, right? And I didn't know Luminar was free. I used the professional version of Luminar as well. It's a great program, but I wasn't aware it was free. I don't think it is. Luminar, oh, Skylum. It is. All right. Some free. Okay, so there's a free version of Luminar, and it looks like Adobe Lightroom's also for free too. Which, in case, go for it. It's not clicking on that link. Let's see if it really is free. It's free trial, but no. Anyway, look, here's some ones that are for free. GIMP, I've heard good things about. one thing that I'm not seeing in that list is graphic converter. This was something I used to use right back in the day. Very great software. The last stable release was 10 months ago. Really cool software. And the other thing about Graphic Converter is it actually can do a couple of things that Photoshop can't, believe it or not, which is great for free. So, but there is a learning curve, and I'm not capable of teaching you how to use that because I have been using Photoshop for so long. The reason I use Photoshop is because it ties in to all these other programs I use of Adobe's as well. So I actually pay for their Creative Suite each month. All right, so that explains the photos and the resolution and the editing a little bit. Here's some other photos that I thought looked kind of cool. I might grab them later. But let's come into here and we can just simply swap this photo out. Now, the way that this photo works, actually I should have made it a bit taller. But anyway, let's have a look. I click on this row or this element, and I can see that we can edit this section. Okay, or sorry, this section we'll call it. This whole thing is a section, and it's got columns and other widgets inside that complete section. As I explained before, this is another section here. So we click on this section. Yes, I got it, thank you. And we go to Style, and we notice that this is set to center, scroll, no repeat, cover. What we're going to do now is upload that photo that we just created and replace it in there. And that means that our design is going to change ever so slightly. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get rid of this, and let's try and understand how this was built. Now, I don't like these bits in here, so I'm going to get rid of them. I like the get a free estimate, but unfortunately it didn't put in our colors, so I think we'll just start again with that button. I don't like that text. It's just too small. We'll get rid of that. I don't like this in here. We'll get rid of that. I don't like that in there. We'll get rid of that. Now, because of the way this has been set up, it's a complicated way they've set this up, and this part of the section actually goes above here, which is stopping us from actually being able to click on this bit. So you've just got to think around problems like this when they happen. What we're just going to do is temporarily put in another row, and what we'll do is we'll just drop things in there just to push that down for now, okay? You just got to think around problems like this when using page builders like Elementor. Now we've got access back to that again. I can safely remove that. Now let's discuss why there's so much space up here and why it's at the bottom. And this has probably got to do with this section. So let's have a look over here. The content width is boxed, which surprises me. I would have thought it was full width. Oh, I see. No, it is actually the photo's full width, but the content in here is boxed. I'm happy with that. The height and the vertical align, I thought it might have been here and said bottom, but it doesn't. So it's something else. Let's click on advanced, and here we can see our padding. And they've set up the padding using pixels, which I don't usually use pixels with padding. I'll explain why. Now we're getting into this area of web design called margin and padding. I'm going to give you a little lesson on margin and padding. The link's turned off. That means I can put in, say, 5% padding at the bottom. Let's put in 20% padding at the bottom. Let's put in 30% padding at the bottom. All right, that works for me. And on the Central Coast, should I put on? Oh, I'm typing in a small t, but it's giving me a big T. Let's have a look at why. We'll go into here to heading, go in here to typography, transform. Oh, so transform for headings, for some reason, default is set up to give title case. We'll come back to that. We'll come back to that later. Why it's doing that as a default. I'm going to guess it's got something to do with these settings. Global fonts, typography, and let's just have a look what it's got in here. Transform, let's just call that normal and press update. Let's see if that helps us. It's coming from somewhere else, but I'm not. We've got other stuff to do before we try and solve that mystery. All right, so now what we need to do is fix up that header and understand where the header's actually coming from. So what we'll do is we'll view this page and we'll have a look at the customizer again. In fact, I'll just quickly cancel. I just pressed command period to cancel what I just clicked on, because I've just remembered I've got the customizer open this tab, so we'll go here instead. And let's see, I'm pretty sure that they've set up this this header probably just using the customizer. So let's have a look. So here under header, if we go to site identity and change that logo, we've got our logo there, and select that and skip cropping. I don't want it cropped. And you can see now that the logo has in fact gone into there, and so this is actually how that header works, okay? But I don't want it that way. I want to design my header a little bit more than that. So what I'm going to do now is click go away to this customizer, and then we're going to go back to the dashboard on WordPress, and under the header and footer blocks, we're going to add new, and we're going to create our own header. So the type of template is it's a header, and we're going to display it on everywhere except, and you guessed it, if you've been paying attention, we will add an exclusion. Search pages and posts, we're looking for under construction, and it's not going to appear there. And there's no sidebar. It's going to be full width. Let's go full width contained for now. We can always change that later. And that's probably as much as we need to do there. And so we just press update. Oh, having a title for it would have helped. We'll call it header. And this isn't going to make any difference, changing the permalink, but it's just a force of habit, because this is important when we're dealing with pages. For some reason I didn't type that properly. Now it is. Alright, so now we can go in and edit this with Elementor. Okay, in Elementor we need to create a new row there. In fact, I'll delete that and start again. I think what we'll do is we'll just start off with 2 columns. Okay, now on this column, I want that to be, let's say, 20% wide on this column. And you can see that that's here under layout for this column, and it's 20% wide. And here, now there was a retina thing, and you can see that that logo is massive, the one I uploaded. I did that on purpose because I actually want to use, and I'm going to use the UAE one. The reason is I might not even end up using header footer blocks. I'll talk about that more later. There's many ways to do a header, but for now we'll use that one. But we'll use the we'll use this retina image here, and we'll use the same image for both. We'll call it image size full, and that means it expands to sit right inside that column there that is 20% big. Oh, and it's also got some padding in there as well. Now, I told you I was going to talk about padding and margin. There is a lesson for web designers called Padding and Margin and Borders based on the house model. I'll explain that, okay? So, box model. Okay. So we click on this one. So here we've got margin, border, padding, content. I wanted to explain it better than that. You can see visually what that is, right? There's the content, there's the padding, there's the border, there's the margin. But the reason why I looked on, there's an article that I just thought made it so much sense for a beginner to think about padding, margin, borders based on suburban house. No, that's just getting into the technicals of it. All right, I'll just explain what I was trying to say. We'll actually, if we look for this, we'll probably see. Here we go. Here we go. Okay, so here, you think of your content as a house. The padding around the house is like your lawn around your house. Your border is like the fence or the trees that go around the lawn, and the margin, think of that as, say, like roads or sidewalk around that. And that's a suburban box model. Let's see if we can, is there any other ones that show that? Same thing there. But so just think of it that way when we're talking about the margin around things, okay, and the padding. So we talked about the margin and the padding, and you've also got the border. The border's probably here under there if we wanted to set those things up, which we don't. All right, so we actually want the background of this whole section to be white. So we'll click on here. We're going to go for a classic color background of white on the back of this. And now we're going to click on here, and we're going to add another one of these widgets or fields, and we're going to find a menu. All right, now you've seen that I like using the UAE ones, so I'm going to stick with that. We're going to have navigation menu UAE, put it in here. Now it's already come up with the pages: home, about, service, projects, contact us. So I guess it's a good time for us to talk about menus, how WordPress gets these. Notice how the green colors come up for our links automatically because we set that up in the customizer. So I'm going to click on this menu now, and I'm going to go over to style, and for the content, I'm going to click on content and layout, and I'm going to center that in the middle. Now I'm going to come back to the section, click on the section, and come to layout. And I'm going to say that the vertical align is at the bottom. Now I'm going to click back onto this menu, come over to style, and let's have a look at the typography. Let's use M's. I prefer M's. M's are basically scalable. So when I say 1M, that's the 16 pixels that we nominated in Customizer. If I put in 1.3, that's 30% bigger. If I put in 1.5, that's 50% bigger. I'm happy with that. Now it's gone with the default font. Let's just make sure that that is in fact Roboto. I think it is, and it is, so we'll leave it like that. Now it's got some space here at the bottom compared to the logo. So the reason why there's spacing there, that would have a lot to do with this vertical padding. So we'll just nominate that as 0 and have that line up nicely with the bottom of the logo there. Because we could put a background color. We could do this blocky instead. I'll just show you. We could have the text color white. We could have the background color green and do it that way. We could put some space between those boxes like that. So now we've got those white lines. And if we wanted to put the vertical padding back in, that would put more space around it. And don't forget too that there's the hover and there's the active. Now the active, I'm just going to change the text color to the grey. The hover, I'm not going to touch because I actually don't want this design. I'll go back to how I had it before, which is white background, green text, and no padding. I could. What happens if I do that? Nothing. That's row spacing. Okay, don't worry about that. I could increase the space between the words that way by putting in, say, 10, and I'll just leave it at that. Now, there's more to it. We'll go through all these things more in advanced lessons, but that's the basics. So now that we've done and we've updated, make sure you're updated. I'm just going to show you a power move here now. I want to get back to that home page. So what I'm just going to do is and make sure you've updated before you do this. I'm just going to type home in there and press return on my keyboard, and that will take me back to there. And now we can see the logo, we can see the header. Let's just make sure that that header hasn't in fact appeared on the page that people will find. No, it hasn't, so that's great. And there's still more to do, obviously, to get this page going, but we've made a good start. We've got the logo in there, we've got a menu in there. Now, just to finish off today's lesson, I'm just going to show you menus. This is just a quick introduction into menus. You can access the menu here. By the way, this is where the customize section is that I showed you before. Remember I said there's two ways to get here. The other way is on the back of the dashboard under appearance, under customize. And you've also got this section here called menus. And I think you can see that we've got the home, about us, service, projects, and contact us. You can make sub-menus just by dragging them. If we view all the pages, you can see there's our under construction page. If we wanted to add that to the menu, we just select that and press add to menu, and it adds it here. So when we save that menu, wait until it's saved. There's a little bouncing ball up here. Now I'm just going to click on a different tab in my window and just press return here. And now you can see that is a sub menu, and now we have under construction. Let's just do that again. Let's get rid of this. We don't want that to be a sub menu, and let's remove under construction and press save menu. Now we're just waiting for that to update. Now it's updated. We can come here and we can press our refresh button and see that the menu has in fact refreshed. Now, one last thing. Now, I was expecting that to turn turquoise, but it's not. So we're going to need to do it ourselves. So here we're just going to go into header, and we're going to go in and edit that post again. Just wait for Elementor to come up. We'll select that menu. We'll go to Style. We'll go to Hover. And we want the text color to go that turquoise color. Now we press Update. Once it's finished updating, we do our little shortcut to get back to that page. And now you can see that's turning turquoise when we hover over it. All right, I'm going to end that lesson here. I think we've covered a lot of ground. If you got this far, thanks for watching. If you've got any questions, please leave them in the comments, or else just get in contact. You can either phone Foxy Web Design or email if you are a client. If you're not a client, please do not ask me how to teach you to do web design. You'll need to sign up for the Foxy Web Designers Club if you want personal support, personal training, personal video conferences, personal videos made just for you to talk about specific design aspects for your specific website. All right, thanks again for watching. Please like and subscribe to our channel if you thought this was useful. And take it easy. Have a great day or evening.